finna get right with inside advice. Some ill entertainment, industry insight. Listen, it's like sitting, building up on the yard. HU, the Bison Chats, the Vanguard. HU, you know.
All right, welcome to the yard, a.k.a. the Bison Chat. I'm Buddy Lewis, and I'm sitting in for the young Rod Emil, who is probably out.
You say young?
Yeah. Hold on. I almost choked on that one. Hold on.
Sorry, Rod. Sorry.
Okay.
Stick with it. Young.
Okay, hold on. Okay, y'all messing me up. Stop it. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm rolling Buddy Lewis, sitting in for Rod Emil, who's out with a flu or cold or just decided I ain't coming. And I, like Rod, I'm a bison, and I will be interviewing another bison from the entertainment industry in association with the Kelly R. Griffin Bison Project, okay? She had to throw her name in there for making sure y'all understand what she does. All right,
My
shit. Yes, it's hers. All right, we're doing from Howard to Hollywood, and this is cycle 2, and that will be a project that's going to be done for the Howard people, by the Howard people, done by more Howard people in all positions: writing, directing, editing, acting. We hope we can get people to fund it, but that's probably going to be done by some Morehouse people. They will down there on the HU camp, the AU Center. They got money down there.
They just want to be down any way they can with Howard.
Any way they can.
We get
You might as well
Spike
pay
Lee
for
a call.
it. Yeah, we get Spike Lee a call.
Sam,
All right.
Sam Jackson.
Sam Jackson, yes. All right, and notice how many times I said bison in that opening segment. We're going to keep that going throughout the entire interview, and every time you hear the word bison, you know the rules. Take out a little something, and drink it up. All right, we got some something here to drink, a little something, and I'm going to drink up because I said bison twice. So,
Kelly choking.
Oh yeah, little bison shot of your own. All right, so drink that up. We have got a special guest today on the Bison Chat, an experienced and dynamic individual who's done just a host and litany of things, a plethora, when you say.
A potpourri
Of jobs in the entertainment and financial side of the business. He's done talent negotiations. He's done marketing communications, event and project management, sponsor management, lifestyle marketing. He has done it all, and he's worked all over the business from radio, film, and television. Ladies and gentlemen, the dynamic and fabulous, straight up out of the Bison. What dorm were you in?
Never lived on campus.
Never. What? Oh my gosh!
I dodged that bullet. I never had that moment.
Gosh, you know he's doing it. His mom and daddy got money. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Ernest Skinner in the house right now.
It's good to be here, y'all. Good to be here.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
oh
man.
my gosh!
I got lucky with that. My mom, and we may get into this, but my mom actually taught at Howard, so I kind of was able to dodge that having to stay on campus thing. So.
Yeah, you didn't want to be on campus with your mama coming right to your door. Yeah, Ernest, that was a good move, I think. Ain't nothing like your mama coming up and Drew.
Right?
I need to speak to Ernest. Don't even need to sign in.
Yeah.
Just walk right into your dorm room with your weed seeds all on the desk. And
You say weed seeds?
oh my God! All right, so
You didn't put Ernest.
I put Ernest straight up in the weed head category.
Yeah, that's me, man.
Okay.
Hey, man, we were in D.C. It's worse.
It's
You
DC.
could have called me a crackhead.
Yeah. So Ernest, you have had a real interesting career in entertainment.
I have.
You started out with 93.9 KYS. In the district. So tell us, what did you do? Were you there with Donnie Simpson and all of that?
No, I actually was there right after Donnie went to PGC, And then I was there shortly before Miss Hughes and Radio 1 bought the station in '93, I think that was. Okay. But so Skip Finley was the guy that owned WKYS back then, and it was right after Donnie left to go to PGC.
Okay, so that's a quick, brief thing you did, because I understand the whole it says that you were on the promotions team. You were one of those. I'm just gonna say it right now. You're one of them assholes putting flyers on your car. Come outside the club and there's 1,000 flyers in the car. Were you one of those people?
No, mine was a little bit different.
Okay,
the good thing, so to kind of tell you,
made the flyers.
I was gonna say I had people who did it. I may not have done it myself. I may not have done it myself. No, you know. So here's the deal. Like I always knew that I wanted to do something in entertainment. As I mentioned earlier, my mom taught at Howard. My dad is a banker, and they wasn't really having that entertainment. Like even now, 20 years later, they still don't understand what I do. Mm-hmm. But so my degree in school was in finance, and but I always knew that I wanted to do something in radio, or in entertainment. And one day I was catching the 70 bus up Georgia Avenue, listening to, well, I'm gonna date myself, but I was listening to my Walkman. Sorry, for the current version is my MP3 player, my iPod, or anything of this sort. For some of y'all at school going like, what's a Walkman? But
why are you on the bus?
You ain't take an Uber?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Uber. Y'all ain't even know about that. Like, it's a whole different world.
Who the fuck gets on the bus?
Like this bus. But nah, so like I was on the bus and I was listening to the radio, and on KISS they were like, hey, if you've ever wanted to do something in entertainment, we're looking for people as part of our street team. Wow. You know, come on down for auditions. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I ain't got nothing better to do. And went in for the auditions. And so to answer your question about the street team are our job were, if ever you listen to KISS in DC and they're like, hey, come down to here and we've got your tickets to this, or you know, hey, KISS will pay your bills, or the Taste of DC, like, you know, kind of all of the marketing events for the station. But the street team, we started there. I went in for the audition, started as a volunteer at the radio station. 3 months later, became part-time, and then 6 months later, became the promotions and marketing director for the station. So, you know, that's kind of how it all started.
Okay. Tell us about your Howard days, because we always are interested in.
Well, where did you live?
Where did you live? That's well,
yeah, I can actually say that now. Say that now that my mama can't just walk up on me. No, I used to live off of. I've always Street? No. I lived off of Bryant Street by North Capitol and Bryant. I've lived. I lived down. I've always just had apartments, roommates, and you know, just was able to kind of, like I said, dodge that bullet of having to be on campus. But you said you wanted to take it back, so. My Howard experience kind of started to take it back to high school before I got to Howard. I had done my part, and let me tell it, I was going to NYU, I was going to Cornell, I was going to Stanford.
We just did this interview right now.
Yeah. No. That's how it started. That's how it started. No, but hey, I ended up there, so it's not how you get started. It's not where you're from. It's where you at. And I'm a Howard man through and through.
There you go.
But my mom's was like, yeah, that's cute, but how you gonna pay for it? To which I was like, I did my part. Like, yo, y'all, all that talk about I need to get good grades and blah blah blah. I did my part, so y'all need to cut that check. To which my mom was like, and was real quiet, at which point I started to say, this probably ain't gonna go my way. But then my mom hit me with the okie doke, or what I call the okie doke now. She said, look, why don't you just go to Howard for a year? If you don't like it, we will pay for you to go anywhere you want. I was like, okay, bet. However, like I said, it was the okie doke because my mama knew once I could set foot on campus, it was going to be on and popping. So that's how I ended up at Howard. And like I said, I kind of always wanted to do something in entertainment, but my parents weren't, my mom's from Jamaica, my dad's from Trinidad, so they weren't, Trinidad, so they weren't really having that go to school for anything that didn't make sense, and I put that in quotes. Because when I was at Howard, I was thinking about, I might want to do the School of C. They were like, yeah, no. I was like, okay, well, fine arts. They were like, cute. So there were kind of all of these moments where it was like, yeah, so my degree was in finance, and first 2 years had more fun than I should have. Next 3 years, I was gone from school for 3 years when I started working at the radio station, and then came back and finished up, got my degree. So with that being said, but like, you know,
you didn't drop out. You decided to work.
Yeah, I decided to work. Well,
how did your parents?
Hold on. My parents decided that I was going to work. Let's keep it real.
Okay.
Because after my sophomore year, I was doing well, but just well enough to pass. And my moms and they were like, yeah, this is not what we're going to do. And even though you're getting a reduced rate to go to school, you're not going to take our money and waste it. And then, so, you know, that's what it is. So that's kind of how it started. But at the times that I was at school, and like, I have no problem saying it, I'm 46. So the time I was at school was the time there was the sit-in at the A building.
Yeah, we did that.
Marion Barry was the mayor who got arrested and, you know, had some challenges there.
What was your first year at campus?
I first came on campus in '87.
Okay.
And I was there '87 to '89.
Okay.
And then, like I said, gone for 3 years while I was working in radio. Then came back, finished up, got my degree.
So you were working in radio, and I hear that story, how you KYS sort of you were prompted by your ride on the bus and the Walkman. There were 2 radio stations at Howard at the time. Didn't decide to try your skills, move them to, or was there nothing there for you at
HBC and HUR? Yeah. So HBC obviously was I wasn't in the School of Communications. Okay. So HBC, you obviously had to go be in the School of C to kind of get on the air there. And HUR, I don't know why that. Well, truthfully, at that point, it wasn't really a station that I was listening to. So KYS before had always been kind of a mainstream R&B station. PGC was definitely the younger kind of hip hop. And then at the point where, right when Donnie Simpson left to go over to PGC, KISS started to skew a little bit younger. So KISS kind of resonated, or KISS and or PGC both would have resonated with me more than HUR did, because HUR has always been sounds like Washington, and you're listening to HUR radio, and you kind
Melvin Lindsay.
Actually, right, yeah, and Melvin had just moved over from KISS to HUR, so right. But the truth of it is I think that things happen the way they're supposed to, and I was literally supposed to go to KISS, and I think that because, as I mentioned, relatively shortly I was running the station, or at least the marketing and promotion for the station. Wow. And I think that I was supposed to take that path just because it allowed me to kind of grow in the business. But HUR, like I said, just didn't really resonate with who I was at that point.
So you did a lot of marketing, and I think now marketing has sort of changed. You know, we've become a more social media oriented business. The model has sort of changed. So, because I know terrestrial radio doesn't have the same power that it used to. I mean, there's some, but it's sort of changed. Am I right? So let's talk to them in about what are the ways they can sort of move their career forward in marketing and promotion.
Like I said, my career started in radio. I was there for full-time for a couple of years. At that point, BET was still in DC, and the only true entertainment game in DC was BET. Sirius and XM were there, but they were kind of just starting. So when you mentioned terrestrial radio kind of not having the same foothold, it was a little bit different. So there was a point when I got done with school where it was to continue my growth in entertainment, it was either LA or New York. And I'm from New York, and I said, let me try LA before it falls in the ocean. So at the point, unfortunately, it hasn't happened yet. I'm trying to get on that plane before that does happen.
You and me both.
But real quickly, and then so when I first moved out here, and back in those days, and all of this is going to come to your question about what can people do today to kind of move their careers forward. But when I first moved to LA, at that point you played your position, and what I mean by that is you were either a music person, you were a TV person, you were a film person, you were a sports person, but whatever lane you were in, that was your lane. There wasn't a whole bunch of crossover. But when I first moved here, I took a meeting with this guy by the name of Jim Chabin, who was the head of an organization called Promax, which is an organization for people in marketing and promotions in the business. Mm-hmm. And at that point, he said to me, you can continue doing music. You can go do a label gig, you can do a radio gig out here in LA. But what I would suggest is that, or what he said at that point is, in the next 5 years, you're going to see somewhat, and it was the first time that I've heard this word, there's going to be convergence. And he said, TV people are going to start doing movies, movie people are going to start doing music, music people are going to start doing sports, and it's really going to be about the business of entertainment. So if I were you, I would get as much experience as you can in different areas of the business, because the business is going to kind of become about the business of entertainment rather than just you playing your position or your lane. So fortunately, I was smart enough to be dumb enough to listen and say, okay, cool. And I've been, so my trajectory has taken me from doing radio in DC to working at MTV, before I went to MTV, being at William Morris, which is one of the biggest talent agencies in the world, and being a junior agent at William Morris and navigating that, leaving William Morris to then go to MTV and do booking on shows like Making the Video, Fanatic, Rock and Jock, VMAs, Cisco's Beach House, all of those kind of talent-driven things. At that point, somebody said to me, if somebody can afford to pay you, that means that they're obviously making more money. So MTV was great, but I left MTV to then go to do freelance talent booking on shows like Ed McMahon's version of Star Search called Ed McMahon's Next Big Star, working on Star Search when it came back with Arsenio Hall on CBS, running the red carpet for the Grammys, doing Elton John's annual viewing party. Along the way, I went to a marketing company called Davy Brown Entertainment, handling their events for clients like Pepsi, HP, T-Mobile, Pink by Victoria's Secret, some small companies you probably have never heard of. No, I'm being funny there. So all of that to be said, and that has gotten me to today, to where what my job is and my title is, I'm a talent and event producer. So what it means is, on one side, people will either hire me to book celebrities for their events, for whether it's a TV show, whether it's an event, whether it's something different. And then on the event side, I actually produce events and put together these things for different clients. Once again, I said really big clients, and that's been fortunate. So I kind of bring all of that to just at least give the trajectory. Now, the reason that it was important that the trajectory come out, or that we talk about the path, is going back to what Jim Chabin said, and that is getting as much experience as you can in as many different areas as you can. Right. Okay. So for those people that are doing or want to pursue entertainment today, and obviously it has become even more important that it's about the business of entertainment, but they need to understand that what ends up happening now is that, yes, it's a digital age, but it's really about the business of it. Yes, it's about being social and getting a whole bunch of followers, but it's about understanding how to monetize those followers. Yes, it is important to have people that follow you, but it's also as important that you develop your brand. So whatever you're saying and whatever messages you're putting out there is something that relates to people and does not damage your future long-term opportunities to make money. Yes, it is I tell people all the time, radio, you said, doesn't really have as much pull. Actually, I just beg to differ a little bit in that, yes, maybe people aren't listening to music as much, but radio, the beauty of radio is it's very immediate and it's very community driven, i.e., I remember when Michael Jackson died, I was sitting there watching TV and I saw it, but it didn't become real for me until I got in my car and they were playing all Michael Jackson. I was like, wow. So radio, I think, still has a way of it's eliciting direct responses, but also letting people really get a chance to be community and be as one. Like I said, listening to what Jim Chabin told me, make sure that you get enough experience in as many different areas as you can, because it's about understanding the business of entertainment and not that the show of entertainment. It may be called show business, but it's really only 10% show and 90% business, and making sure you understand those dynamics. I think that's how kids today can kind of push it forward.
Okay, and let me correct myself when I was talking about, and I think what I meant by terrestrial radio not having the same foothold, I think what I mean is there's so many different avenues now for people to advertise in so many different areas. It's like television. There's more than one station. So and I think, and just to clarify that, I was trying to say that there's so many, Pandora, you got all these different ways to advertise, and radio sometimes doesn't, it's branched itself out as well. So you have to be able to find the avenues that's popping today, because one radio station might change their genre on you. So, it's one of those things where you have to be ahead of the game.
Agreed.
And so now, because we got away from this, we got away a little bit from your Howard experience a little bit. We kind of got away, and I don't want to. We always like to talk about what was Howard for you, being a person that was off campus. How did your experience sort of make you different from those that were on campus?
So I've always been kind of social. I was a campus pal on Howard's campus.
So was I.
Oh,
Campus pal, CP. What's up, baby? I was. Oh my God! Oh my God! Yes.
And Dallas Jackson.
Yes.
Oh, Dallas is the homie. Yeah, Dallas and I were pals around the same time.
Dallas had the shooting
yeah.
at his house. That's
Wow, you went there.
No, he talked about it on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember
Dallas. But yeah, so I've always been social, and I was, when I came back. So, but my mind frame was a little bit different. So before I left school, I will absolutely say, first and foremost, allow me to be, because you were trying to clown me when I said I thought I was going somewhere else. I'm a Howard man. Like, I don't second. My mama did right. Like, I may have thought it was the okie doke, but the Howard experience was absolutely one of the best in my life. Now, one of the key things there that happened is, I think like a lot of kids who come to Howard, we may be, we're a product of an integrated society. We may have been one of a few black kids at our respective high schools. We've always been kind of told that we're special, or you're not like every other black person or any of that stuff. But coming to Howard and being on a campus with 7,000 other people who were at the top of their classes, and in having it be a sea of us, it's life-changing. And it's one of those things that I remember. I was dating a girl who went to school at University of Maryland in Baltimore, and she was trying to talk me down about going to Howard and how it might be limiting and how it doesn't have the potential for my future in terms of, I was like, and that's 100% wrong. The Howard network is one of the strongest that I tend to run into, and especially being here in LA. Now, but being out of school, my conversations were a little bit different, because I was doing real world kind of stuff. I had a job. Like my mom and dad didn't give me my car. I bought my own car and had to make my own car note payment. And it was and so that impacted my train of thinking a little bit. Like like I mentioned, being a campus pal, and I was a finance manager. I handled all of the money and all, but it just allowed me to approach things from a bigger picture. Now, there were some things that didn't necessarily work in my favor. I wanted to pledge, and I did not pledge when I was in school, but I wanted to pledge. And
what fraternity?
I mean, can I? Oh, well, I would have pledged Omega.
Oh my
but,
God! You just made it.
Go ahead, Eve. Continue your conversation.
But it was a little bit different. That
I'm sorry the bros ruined your experience. With their delineations and getting off topic to make sure there were no lines between your time and. But go ahead. I'm sorry. About that.
But it became a little bit different because when they did come back on campus, unfortunately, because I was at a point where I was like, I've been working,
Right.
I got a car, and I was like, whoa, you think that what's mine is going to become your, like, during the process? And I was like, I got a job. And so it did
Right.
kind of impact some of that. But I think more importantly, the Howard experience is one that I personally would not change for anything. I think that it's important that people go to an HBCU, especially as young blacks, even though from what I hear, Howard's now becoming gentrified, which we'll talk about that. But I think it's important that blacks
they
go.
got a white punter.
You came from a soccer background.
Okay.
Who's getting a minority scholarship? But
Okay.
we won't talk about that.
Are y'all serious? Are y'all
No, this
joking?
is real.
No, this is real.
Really?
This is real. I got white swimmers at Howard. This is real. Come on, keep going.
So, but I like the Howard experience is like no other. Now, what I
That
will
is so
say
true.
to those students that are on campus, cherish these moments. You know, cherish your homecoming. Cherish being at Blackburn. Cherish, you know, when the Thunder Machine goes to in front of Fine Arts and puts it on FAMU or Morehouse. Cherish those moments. But more importantly, cherish the people that are in that ride with you, because what you're going to find is as you go down this road called life, that Howard bond is actually one of the strongest. And despite the fact that my ex-girlfriend believed that you're at a disadvantage, I would tend to argue that you're actually at an advantage. And that advantage is being able to bleed blue and white. And those people are Howard folks, and you know this, Howard students, but I'm going to say it. We run ish. Whatever field it is, whether it's entertainment, whether it's business, whether it's government, whether it's the medical field, we run this, and our legacy is not one of just the past. It's not just Thurgood Marshall or Charles Drew or any of those people that are before us. It's something that is happening now. One of the ladies that I was a pal with, Leslie Foster, is a newscaster in the DC market. You know,
had a senator be elected.
Just had a senator. Kamala Harris is a Howard woman.
Right.
Like in entertainment, you can love him or hate him, but Puff is doing his thing. Diddy,
Hey,
sorry.
And even if she don't want to, even though we don't like this, we can go ahead and say Omarosa went to Howard.
Omarosa went to
So
Howard.
she's doing her
Right.
thing. So there are a lot of folks, and that is so true. We don't really talk about that aspect of the Howard experience, which is we're bonded in a different way,
Right.
And we have a special sort of connection, and that comes from, hey, I just met an alumni, and I tell you, you know it's real. You meet people all over the world,
Right.
that have gone to Howard, and it really makes it a really special kind of bonded thing when you can meet and greet these people and you have something in common.
But that's exactly why I wanted to do this project, because I'm not saying there's no people who are in entertainment who didn't graduate from other universities,
Right.
but this is the only university that I know that I thought like we had enough to put together an entire movie. Like
Right.
I don't think another university can do that.
That's right.
It's true.
Yeah.
Like
Or-
I mean, there's people in hair, makeup, and wardrobe on Empire, and
Right.
you know other shows are doing like they're on Blackish, whatever. There's Howard people in so many positions.
He said it.
All
we
over.
run ish. We run shit. So and that is tell us the transition from, because I know we talked about the radio. Let's talk about that transition from graduation at Howard to being out here in California. What was your first job when you got out here?
One of my first jobs when I moved to LA was at BET. Started as a talent producer on Sprite Night. Sprite Night was a show that that BET used to do as a precursor to the Soul Train Awards. So I was booking. I started booking that show.
Did you develop that? Was that your project? Was Sprite Night?
No.
Okay,
Sprite Night
okay.
existed before me.
Okay.
But I was brought up, and actually, I'm telling you a lie. My first job was a PA on Comic View, which then led me to being the booker for Sprite Night.
That's where we met.
Yeah, well, that's where we first met. But so, and I don't mean this as a diss. No matter what you're doing, LA is a city that sometimes is a hard nut to crack. And what I mean by that is, if you go to New York, anywhere else that I've been in the country, people will rock with you based on your energy of hustle and your work. And whereas LA, sometimes it takes because it can be a transient city, i.e. people come here and they're gone 2 months later, it may take you 6 months to a year to get your footing under you, because they're not willing to invest the energy in you, because they believe that, like everybody else, you'll be gone in you can't hang, and then you'll be gone relatively quickly. So the one thing that I do want to say to people that are either just now coming to LA or are about to graduate and say, hey, I want to move to LA, just know that LA will test you. LA is going to be one of those things that we have been told our entire lives, roll up your sleeves and let's get to work. That may not be enough in LA. LA, it's a function of not only that part, but also people seeing you at all of the quote unquote right places. So it's about networking, and it's about being able to say, hey, I'm going to this party, this listening party, but there are a wealth of opportunities for you to be able to get that kind of leverage that you need. But just anybody who's planning on coming to LA, it's not going to be an easy road. It's not going to, because LA just by nature, if you're not here yet, you won't understand this reference, but we're a car community. In DC, you can get on the metro. In New York, you can get on the train. But LA's a car. You need a car. But the problem with that is that you are separated from people until you get there, and then it's hard for you to kind of break through. But if you are willing to put in the work, and if you are willing, and somebody said earlier as I was talking with them, the thing about LA is that you have to be about your word. You have to be, persistent. You have to be trustworthy. And those are all things that are important here, because it will take some time before what will end up happening is, it may be 6 months, it may be a year, it may even be a year and a half. But what will end up happening is, at some point, somebody will look up, and they may not say these exact words, but their actions will say, oh, you're still here. Oh, and wow. Then what will end up happening is, that moment can be a pivoting point for you, because what is happening is they are now realizing that 6 months, a year and a half, oh, you're still here. Okay, now who are you again? And so just know that process will determine how badly you want to be in LA.
That's so interesting, man, because that is the same thing that happens when you're either in front or behind the camera. And it's interesting that story, you're giving it from behind the scenes a little bit more. Right. As a talent, and especially as a comic, you have to stay in the clubs and grind for 6-7 months sometimes, before you are an unpaid regular
right
in a club. So
right.
That is so important, and so many people come straight from school out to LA, and they think, oh, because I got talent, or oh, because I'm pretty, or oh, because I'm smart, or oh, because it's gonna happen for me. I'll tell you, the most eye-opening thing for a lot of women out when they come to LA is to see themselves. You walk into an audition room and it's 20 people that look just like you.
Yep.
So how do you separate yourself? How are you going to be, and you could be the most beautiful woman in all of Howard, and I mean, you could be Miss Everything, but you come to LA, it's 20 chicks that look just like you in a room.
Yep.
And, I mean, I can't tell you how many times, because they put that in the breakdowns. We need pretty, this, that. We need bald, big. It's 20 guys that look like me when we walk into for a commercial or for whatever. So you got to stand out. And like you said, it takes time for the casting directors to go, oh, okay, he's still here.
Yep.
Or the club owner to go, oh, he's still here. So LA's a very tough nut to crack. Speaking of the cracking, no, I mean this, because you cracked into.
I was like, I don't know
where he's going with it.
Cracking on the nuts. You work for William Morris, man, for a second.
Yep.
And that's another. It's a very, very interesting dynamic that happens in the agency side of the business that many people miss. The nepotism that is permeates that business. Speak to the people that don't understand the whole gag about the mailroom and working your way up out of there, because a lot of people don't understand that concept and they missed it. You in your resume and bio talk about that experience. Please explain and give some people some perspective on that.
Yeah, so to tie in with what we were just talking about, LA being a tough nut to crack, when I moved here, fortunately, well, let me take a step backwards. There are different lanes within entertainment, and buddy, you're obviously talent and in front of the camera. There are tons of opportunities and tons of ways that you can make money in this business of entertainment that are not in front of the camera. And that whether that's management, whether that's being a publicist, whether that's being on a set and being a line producer, whether it's being a field producer, whether it's there are tons of those opportunities. One of those lanes is going into the agency. So according to LA law, a manager, no one can procure work for their client other than an agent. And there are some big agencies, William Morris and they're now William Morris Endeavor, but William Morris being one of them, CAA, ICM, there are some smaller ones as well. Gosh. But so the agency is the place where the people who are procuring work for their talent kind of live. Now, when I first moved here to LA, I was a little bit ignorant. I didn't know the machine. I didn't know the game. I didn't know any of that. And as I told y'all, I was running a department in DC where I was like, these positions are coveted at the agency. They are, everybody who is worth their weight, not everybody, but a lot of people who are worth their weight in the business started in one of these agencies, probably working starting in the mailroom. Now, when I first moved here, I was a little bit ignorant. I was like, I ain't working in nobody's mailroom. I got a degree. I was running a department. I ain't working in nobody's. And fortunately for me, a position opened up as a junior agent that allowed me to get in there, so I didn't have to start in the mailroom. But just to understand the concept for anybody listening to this podcast, there are people who have gone through law school, who have gone through med school. There are people who are Charles. Oh yeah, we'll talk about Charles. Like, Charles is one of my homies. Charles and I came up in the game together. But there are people with bona fide degrees beyond their
fetus,
beyond their undergraduate degree, and these people are dying, clamoring to get into the mailroom of one of these agencies, because it is a great jumping off point to anything else that you want to do. We mentioned Charles King, who's a fellow Bison, who's also an attorney by trade. He and I came up in the game together, and but he was one of those people that, like, it's funny because Charles is a friend of mine, but if you go to sit in Charles's office, he has all of his rejection letters. He applied for William Morris, I want to say 5 times before he got put on in the mailroom. Like, and he had a degree. He's a really sharp cat. So if you have an opportunity, you should Google who Charles King is. But if you sit in his office, he has his rejection letters, and then the one letter that says, well, we want you to come work in our mailroom. And what's going to be funny is that when you think that, I've made it, let me help you understand. When you're working at the mailroom, you're making a whopping $350, $375 a week. Right. And that is there is no real room for overtime. And so even when you get to that point that you're in William Morris or an ICM or a CAA, you ain't gonna be balling out of control. But it is important that you understand that, and I tell everybody, I was ignorant. I got lucky to come in as a junior agent, which means that I was not licensed, but I could book. My boss would book, and first of all, they were all my boss's clients. Let's be transparent. But my boss would book LA, and I would get to book Riverside, which is a suburb of LA. My boss would book New York City, and I would get to book upstate New York. Right, that part. I would get to book that. But the beauty of it was, and she had to approve all of my deals, but I got to work with people like, at that point, Maxwell and Spice Girls and Hanson and Paula Poundstone and Margaret Cho and Bill Cosby and Well, whatever. But it is important that you understand that there are several opportunities behind the scenes, and if you can get, and I tell anybody, if you're listening to this podcast and coming from the Quad and coming from campus and moving to LA, if there is a way that you can get into any of these agencies, especially as a young Black, you should do it. Now, it's not going to be a lot of money. You're going to work like a slave. You are going to, you're going to probably deal and see the negative side of a lot of people. But the beauty of working in an agency is that it's a jumping off. Everything that happens in LA, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, will touch an agency. So if you're at an agency and you're working with comedians, you are probably not only going to be involved in their bookings, but, surprisingly enough, you probably are going to have some element of their publicity. You're going to be dealing with their management to kind of make sure that everything is good there. You're going to be dealing with, to handle the travel for said comedians, to make sure you're going to be dealing with the money of them in terms of an understanding of if they get a percentage deal. If they get a percentage deal, making sure that that percentage and that back end, what those points are that they kick in, and understand the business of it. But I was lucky. I was like a little bit vain and definitely ignorant, and it ended up working for me. Mm-hmm. But I tell anybody, especially if you're interning and if you're still at school, one of the things that you can get into a radio station, you can get into a TV station, but if there's a way for you to get into an agency and just even as an intern, do that, because that's about the business of entertainment, and it will take you places that you will not really know existed.
And you scoff at the mailroom, but everybody has to come to the mailroom. Mm-hmm. Everybody comes to the mailroom. Yep. And you have to deliver the mail, and then every now and then you make a connection with somebody who you doesn't know how to make copies, or mm-hmm. didn't know how to do this, or you bring some flowers from somebody else. You take them some, so you get to meet everybody. That's how you network. Yeah. Because if you have to take sandwiches up to, because sometimes the mailroom, you have to set up the conference rooms, you have to do a lot of different things as a grunt. Mm-hmm. If you're doing that for someone special, an agent or a client or somebody comes in, you're getting to meet them. You're getting to network. Who's the dude? Who's the girl? Who's your new assistant or whatever? That can definitely allow you some networking abilities, especially at a big time agency. That's so don't, and I'm just going off of that, Ernest. Don't mock that like, oh my God, I'd never do that.
No. The one thing that to your point though, that I want to make sure that everybody hears, I was ignorant. Like I said, when I was scoffing at the mailroom, I tell anybody now, if you can get in any way you can get in, because it will do exactly what you said. It will teach you those skills, those intangibles that you won't know are important until 5, 10, 15 years down the road. So absolutely.
And it also helps in another way. It helps you adjust your attitude.
Right. Get your mind right.
Because in LA, people think that immediately you're going to move from whatever you were doing before to superstardom, and it just doesn't work like that. Right. It doesn't happen like that. There are no overnight successes in LA. That's all a myth. Yep. People look at some of these celebrities out here, and they've been working 10, 15 years before they get their big break. Right. And so it also teaches you dealing with people when you start out at the bottom. So you did the agency thing, mm-hmm. and you were there for how long at William Morris?
About 2 years.
What was the deciding factor when you said, you know what, I'm ready to move on? What was the key?
For me, so here's the thing about the agency. For lack of a better term, it is a glorified salesperson. And what I mean by that is that, now let's be clear, they are salespeople with a lot of power, and if done properly, a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But the truth of it is that for me, it's very cut and dry. It's really about the numbers of I want to pay XYZ. Well, our client is asking for this. And it kind of becomes a haggle back and forth. And I wanted to get into more creative areas of the business. I wanted to be able to kind of do some things that would allow me to have a little bit more to be able to start with something from the bottom and to be able to see it through. So it just became, for me, it was like, hey, you know, this is dope and it's great to be here. And for anybody older listening to this podcast, I just have to shout out Gail Moore, who was there happened to be a sister that was in charge of HR at William Morris, and at that time she worked to make sure to get us in there. She worked to get myself in there, worked to get Charles in there. She worked to get there's another agent by the name of Dana Sims, but so thankful for that we were able to kind of navigate that.
Is Gail still there?
No, Gail is gone.
Okay.
Gail's been gone.
Okay.
She was about to get a whole lot of emails.
Well, oh yeah, I was like,
Nah, 'cause
that's the only reason I mentioned her name.
My agent is over there now, so I'm. So finish telling me. So there was a jump off point where you said, "I'm the agency is not my." You got the creative thing. You know, sometimes we don't know. What was it like? Was it just the opportunity, or was there something really serious? Did something happen at the agency, or you know, was there a client that said, "Come with me"? You know, what was the thing?
No, I wish that. Well, I wish it had been a client that had said, "Come with me." No, it just was one of those things that, and we mentioned it's not my story, but I remember telling Charles at that point when Charles was looking to get put on as an agent. I said, Charles, one thing you have to understand is that it has to come from the client side, that they have to say to these powers that be that probably don't look like us, but they have to say, yes, I will come to William Morris, but I want Charles to be part of my team, because because it's about the dollars and cents, and if these agencies want the money bad enough, and you're sitting there saying, I will come with you and give you some of this money, but the requirement is that I want Charles King, who is a brother, as part of my team, and I want him to be my day-to-day person. Like it drives the conversation. It kind of makes them change the dynamics, whereas they may not have thought of you, or they may have thought of you as that black guy from the mailroom, but then it's like, oh, wait a minute, that black guy from the mailroom, you want him as part of your and then they'll do the dollars and cents, and they'll do the analysis, and they'll say, okay, noted. So to your point, no, my leaving the agency wasn't somebody saying, come with me. It was really a matter of, I want to do more creative stuff, and I went over to MTV at that point. But that is an important part of it. When we talk about the networking, that networking is important both on the external side, meaning in your day-to-day, everything that you're doing, but it's also important, more important, like you said, when you're in the mailroom and networking and dealing with the people internally, it's just as important, because those people, what will end up happening a lot of times is somebody, a talent or an actor or whatever, will say, hey, we want you, we're going to go start our own our production company, and we want you to be our assistant because you've been so good. So that networking is important. But for me, no, it was just a matter of MTV opened up. At that point, truthfully, I had been, Tom Freston who was the CEO of MTV Networks at that point. Long and short of it, he created my position at MTV.
Was he a client at William Morris or some of his people?
When we talk about networking, it's like before I had gotten to William Morris, I was temping, and I had temped at MTV quite a few times. And nothing was working out, like the positions weren't quite. And then one time I got a call from my temp agent. I was actually working on a show, making really good money. And she's like, hey, are you open to a temp assignment? And I was like, no, I'm cool. Like I'm good. I'm on a show. It was the Vibe Awards. And she was like, all right, no, but just listen to me. I was like, no, I'm good. And she was like, so Tom Freston is looking for somebody to be his assistant for 3 weeks. And at that point, I felt like I had been spinning my wheels and I didn't really have a mentor. So long and short of it, I was like, sure, I'll do it. You know, why not? And that obviously opened up a whole nother set of doors in terms of being able to do it. And then unbeknownst to me, like I said, I had gone to the MTV thing. Then what ended up happening was I got a call one day saying, hey, Tom really was blown away by you working for him, 3 months ago, or whatever it was, and we finally have a position. And so Tom kind of created my position at MTV, and it's really been about networking, both internally for the Howard community, but also externally. But I think that those are all skills that I got from being at Howard. I got from being a campus pal. That I got from the Howard experience. Those were all the things that I kind of was able to leverage and move to another level. So that's where it came from.
Your job at MTV, was that also promotioning and marketing? Was that, or was there something? Was it a different sort of?
That's how I made the transition. From marketing promotions, but that was just a booking job. It was a talent job. It was the job that allowed me to, like I said, book shows, making the Video Fanatic, their New Year's show. It was booking all of those shows. Now, the one good thing that came out of it is they were trying to kind of pigeonhole me as the black guy, i.e. they were just giving me all of the black acts, and I had to say to them, yo, I want to be able to, I don't only want to book Jay-Z and Cisco and Missy and all of those folks that I did, Busta Rhymes and all of those folks, but I want to be able to book at that point the Britney Spears, the Pearl Jams, the Metallicas, the Pink. Like Pink had just come out. Like, I was like, I want to be able to do that also. And, but I had to kind of let them know, like, my skill set, just because I'm black, don't mean that I only know black stuff. But so that's how but the job at MTV was a booking job. So I was responsible for booking their shows.
Now, what is your present day job? Talk about your present day job now. And because you have had a real genuine experience in a lot of different areas. Let's talk about where you are right now.
Yeah, so the one thing that I want to just to bring it all home is that when we talk about networking, when we talk about the Howard experience, I've had a really dope run. It's about building your brand and making sure your reputation precedes you, because people are having conversations with you or about you, whether you know it or not. What I do now is I get to be able to book celebrities for TV shows and events. I get to produce events for really big brands. I'm currently working on a project here in LA. One of my clients is the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, and we have an event we're doing for World AIDS Day here in LA with a free show with Patti LaBelle, Common, giving Harry Belafonte the Life of Advocacy Award, hosted by Rosie Perez. So the first part of what I did, or the first part of my job for my clients, is to do the booking, which I've done. I booked the show, and now I'm actually producing the actual event at the Dolby Theater. And and like I said, I run the red carpet for the Grammys. So I'm the person that is handling the arrivals, so that when they're looking for Jennifer Lopez, that they know that they're like, Ernest, where is she? Well, she's talking to Ryan Seacrest. Well, we need her, and to kind of be able to navigate that. And so my job, everything that I've done has brought me to a point that I'm kind of the go-to expert. There's a running joke amongst other people that Ernest knows everyone. I don't know that that's true, but I do know one or two people.
Well, hey man, you know the right people.
I do know a lot of the right people. Yeah, I do. But the truth of it is that very little of it has to do with me. I mean, the part of being grounded and making sure my reputation is stellar, that is all me. But in terms of the opportunities, there have been many Howard folks that have supported me, and I'm very clear that Howard community is the reason that I've been able to do this for 20 years, because a lot of places, a lot of times along that way, my bison were like, yo, let's figure it out.
Now, do you have your own company now, or are you working with a larger company under a larger company's umbrella?
Yeah, the beauty of what I've been able to do is, and I get this all the time, is I work freelance very clearly. So that means I go, and for those of y'all who don't understand it, I go from project to project. And the beauty of that is I don't have to deal with anybody's, I don't have to internalize a company's drama. Because my reputation has been so stellar, I've been able to do this for 20 years and been lucky that I've been able to just keep it moving.
Ernest, and I think you've said something in an indirect way. You are not asking people to hook you up.
Right.
You are not asking for a hookup. The hookup is finding you because of your reputation, because of your stellar, like you said, your stellar work ethic and what you've done over the last 20 years. I think sometimes we all are misunderstanding the connection that comes from networking, but somebody having to do something for you. No, you've been putting in your time, you've been putting in your work. So, and I'm saying to the students, don't look for no hookup. That's not what he's talking about.
Right.
He's not looking for hookups. People are coming to find him because he's put in the work and he's done his work. So, and so as you begin to network, find your hookups in being qualified, being thorough, being businesslike, being a person that networks thoroughly.
Understanding that it's not somebody giving you something, but you being prepared to do whatever it takes once that opportunity presents itself.
Genius.
Yeah.
All right. We're at this point in the show where we do something very, very interesting here. We have a game we like to call Running with the Bison, where we take random, rapid-fire questions, boom, 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 and we give them to you, all right? And we got 10 questions, and because your name is Ernest, we're going to say earn yes, earn yes for yes, and no for no. All right. No. All right. So, all right. Here we go. All right. So, number one, been camping in a tent?
No.
Gone on a blind date?
Yes.
Was she cute?
No.
Did you stay? That's the worst.
Yeah, I said I ain't doing that.
Watched anyone or something give birth?
Something.
No. I mean, you could have had a puppies. I saw puppies give birth. Okay, I saw my guppies, spit the little babies out. It was crazy in the fish tank. No. Skinny dipping?
Yes.
Was it at Howard when your mama wasn't around?
No, actually, it was well before Howard.
Okay.
Yeah, but
your mama's gonna be okay. Been in a car accident?
No.
Never. That's great. Knock on wood. That's great. Witnessed the shooting?
Yes. Come on now.
Okay.
You
from DC.
From the area.
From the area. I'm from the area. I'm from the area. That's hysterical. Never been camping, but I've seen some people get shot. I've never seen anyone get born, but I've seen them get taken away. Okay. Paid for a stranger's meal?
Yes.
Been skydiving?
No.
Tattoos?
No.
Manscaping?
Yes.
All right, man. There you have it. There it is, right there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so Ernest, give us a plug for if you have a book or a video or something you're doing, something you're proud of, you're about to get done.
Yeah, as I said, for me, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation is one of my clients that I do a lot of work for. And currently, we are doing a show, if you're in LA, on November 30th with Patti LaBelle, Common, the singer JoJo, giving Harry Belafonte the Life of the Advocacy Award, hosted by Rosie Perez. So if you're in LA, you can go to ahfwad.org to get your tickets to the free show to see them perform here in LA. And, but for me, I'm about to get into award season working, so, just staying busy on these checks. But the AHF stuff is important because it allows me to do what I do and kind of make a difference. And kind of, we got to be real that even though it's 2016, HIV and AIDS is still a real thing.
Yes.
And we as African Americans are being affected disproportionately.
Okay.
Black women are one of the highest segments of new AIDS cases coming about, and that means that Black men are doing some stuff that they're not open and honest about. So, we just gotta, the work that I do with AHF is important, so it's good to be able to do that.
Ernest, if there is any bison or any person out there that is potentially looking to use your services, is there a website or a page or a number you'd like to give out to people who need you? Twitter, Facebook, anything you'd like to have where they can contact you?
Yeah, sorry, this is going to sound real old school. I do have Twitter. I do have Facebook. I do have Instagram, but those are all kind of my personal ways of being able to vent. So, the best way to reach me, truthfully, is just via email, ErnestSkinner05@AOL.com. I know some of y'all.
AOL?
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, I said it. I ain't scared of y'all. You ain't gonna punk me.
I'm on Hotmail, so kiss my ass.
You ain't gonna punk me.
Okay, you ain't gonna punk me up in here. I'm old school. Like a pair of Chuck Taylors.
And that's ErnestSkinner05@AOL. And I'll reply to all emails and be glad to help any way I can.
Oh my God, I feel like I have gotten a lesson today. You have been so insightful Ernest, and I'm gonna talk to you before we leave here. I got to get to
Absolutely.
some of these little Grammy parties and stuff.
Hey, let's do it, man.
We're gonna
Yeah.
do it. Buddy Lewis got to get his brand on. All right, we got to get our branding on. But before we do that, we got to give out a little shout. You know, we got to do our HU thing. So you know how it works. Ladies and gentlemen, HU, you know, yes, I love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Bison Chat.
There's a cute dog in the making.
Yeah, a little cute dog in the making. This has been an awesome podcast with my man Ernest Skinner, and we appreciate you coming out, man, and
Absolutely.
giving your
Thanks
time,
for having
man.
me, man.
It was great. This is Buddy Lewis, and I'm here for Rod Emil, who's out sick with turf toe or something. I don't know what he got. He couldn't make it today, but please check out the Bison Chat every other Monday on iTunes or Lisbon and at YouTube. And if you feel you want to leave a post or comment, please do. You can Twitter us at KRG Bison Project using @Bison Chats. Do that. As usual, we want to get out a shout to Eric Powell Jr., aka ELPJ, and Jay Blanco, who provided the Bison Chat theme song. Hilda Guest, our production consultant, he's not a bison, but we still like him. And our producer, Stacey Alfonso, and the great Kelly R. Griffin. Thank you for being here. Again, I'm your host.
Great.
Well, you can be. You just got some work to do.
And we want to give a shout out to our great producers, Stacey Alfonso, and the regular Kelly R. Griffin. And again, I'm your host, Buddy Lewis. Rod will be back very soon after he gets over his runny nose and broken finger, because he gets people in his finger and his nose. That's how he broke his finger. So you can find us at Bison Chats, host at krgbisonproject.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another wonderful Bison Chat. HU, you know.